Welcome to A Voice of Reason in Turbulent Times with Pastor Charles Burnett-Morrow. A powerful, practical, prophetic, and progressive commentary about what is happening in our world today.
I'm not going to say Trump, okay? Because you need to understand this goes way beyond Trump. There are literally thousands and thousands of people that are in on this thing in total. They want the population to revolt. They want the population, listen to me, folks. They want the population to revolt. They want people picketing in the streets. What I'm about to say, people are going to say it's nuts. They're going to say it's crazy. I don't care. Like I said, this is why in years past I didn't commit a lot of prophetic stuff to camera. But at this point, I'm just sounding the warning as loud as I can sound it. They will sow people into the picketers. They will sow people into the revolters who are going to commit acts meant to spur others acting similarly. What do I mean by that? What I mean is they're going to have people who will go into let me say, a Black Lives Matter rally, for instance. And all of a sudden, they're going to have somebody that they've put there who's going to throw a garbage can through a store window and start grabbing stuff and running with it. And they're going to do this in hopes that these people that other people will begin to follow suit. Because you've heard of the concept of, crowd mentality or gang mentality. When you put a large group of people together and somebody starts to do something, it is amazing how many other people will wind up just kind of getting caught up in it and start doing the same thing. They want people to become violent. They want to hear gunfire. They want to see people hurt. They want to see store windows broken. They want to see businesses broken into. They want to see fires set in government buildings as well as in private businesses and what have you. They want to see these things because part of their plan, and I've been prophesying this for over 20 years, part of their plan, what's going to help them to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish, they need to be able to declare martial law. But in order to declare martial law, they have to have some cause. They have to have a legitimate reason to be able to do this. Mind you, in order to get us out of our Constitution, in order to get us out of our current framework of law, okay, the rule of law, in order to get out of this, there's only one way to do it. We have to have martial law. We have to have civil unrest at a level, listen, that will allow Trump then to claim the need to suspend habeas corpus. President Abraham Lincoln had to suspend habeas corpus during the Civil War. You cannot possibly he'll claim, our military cannot possibly go in and bring order and bring law and order back as long as they're constrained by the rules and regulations of the Constitution. And his base is going to be screaming, yes, 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 yes. Do it, do it. And if you suspend habeas corpus, guess what happens? Every nut with a gun is now able to go into the streets and start shooting anybody they perceive as an enemy, anybody they perceive as someone who opposes what they want for this country. All of a sudden, every elected official, from mayor to alderman to city councilman to governor to senator to congressman, etc., 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 every single one of them will become a target. Every liberal, every Democratic elected official in this country will become a target. And they know, because they know that I told you, this is a plan that they've had in place for a long time. And they know that the minute Donald Trump suspends habeas corpus, that is a green light for us to go out and to begin to assassinate every Democrat, every liberal in any position of power that we can. And there is going to be no repercussion whatsoever. There will be none, because there's no longer a rule of law. You no longer have to follow the rules of engagement. You no longer have to follow the rules of law. It's not going to be a matter of, well, did you feel that your life was, Kyle Rittenhouse and all this crapola? Did you feel that your life was in danger? I have a license to carry a firearm. I happen to be very good with a firearm. I have no intention, or I have no desire to ever fire it at a human being. But I certainly know how to fire one. And there's things going through my head that at one level I want to say it, and on the other level I'm saying, no, don't say it. You can't say that. I try to allow myself to be ruled by wisdom. I try to use wisdom when I speak if I can help it. So there are things that I shouldn't say, and there are things I can say. So anyway, they want civil unrest, folks. They want disorder. They want chaos. That is when you will see what I talked about Sunday. The vision, the dream that I had back in I think it was in 2008, if I remember correctly. This dream, oh my God, it terrified me. I don't even know how to describe it. It troubled my spirit so badly that I literally couldn't sleep for days. The things that I saw were horrifying. And the Lord showed me, He said, this is all part of that plan. You got to remember, 2008 was long before Donald Trump ever announced he was running for president. So this had nothing to do. This is not a reactionary dream to Trump getting into office. No. This was the Lord showing me something long before it happened. Said, now I'm not saying that this is necessarily going to be implemented nationally across the board. I don't know that it's going to be nationally implemented. But what I saw was people in urban environments, okay, especially in big cities and what have you. If you have a lot of chaos going on in Los Angeles, if you have a lot of chaos going on in Seattle, if you have a lot of chaos going on in Detroit, if you have a lot of chaos going on in let's say Houston, then obviously it would be incumbent upon them to use these tactics in those places. And what I saw was them literally cutting off utilities to entire municipalities, entire cities, and literally saying to the people, when you come down, when you go back to your homes, and when you come down, we'll stop shooting you dead in the street, But you've got to go in your house and stay in your house. And do not so much as step off your front porch or step out over the front stoop of your house. Because the minute you step outside your front door, you will be shot dead on sight. Now, of course, I'm not saying it's not like they have enough policemen and what have you to be everywhere. But you have to remember at this point, they're going to have soldiers. They're going to have army personnel in these cities. Because habeas corpus has been suspended. Martial law has been implemented. They're going to have a whole lot more people out there than just the local police force. And those people are going to be going up and down the streets, monitoring. And if they see you out in front of your house, the rule is going to be shoot them dead on spot. No questions. Do not warn them. Do not tell them to go back in their house. Shoot them dead. Why? This will terrify people. This will put such fear in the population, not just those in that city, but those in the most rural farming community in the country who can go outside without a problem, who can go outside and do whatever they want to do because their area is not necessarily under this mandate. And it's going to terrify them to hear of this. And what it is it is a tactic that will be meant to bring everyone under submission to the new order. And at that point, folks, there will be no return. There's going to be no return to the original Constitution given to us by our founding fathers. No. At that point, we're going to hear the argument made, it's time for us to establish a new Constitution. You know, the world has changed. Things are different now. And our founding fathers, you know, there were things they didn't anticipate and there were things they didn't see. And therefore, you know, it is time for us to establish a new Constitution. And then you're going to have your oligarchs wanting, as I've said, rules and regulations written in that are going to favor them. You're going to want your theocrats to have things that are written in that will favor them. You're going to have your racists wanting to have things written in which will favor them. And we are going to be a full-blown banana republic.
Welcome to A Voice of Reason in Turbulent Times with Pastor Charles Burnett-Morrow. Get ready to hear inconvenient, yet very necessary, truths about what is happening in our world today.